You are live.
Welcome to Last Call Saturday. I am the prep queen, Ariel Epstein, taking over for Kelly in Vegas, and probably the last month of it because then she's going to come back. We've got football this month. It is August. It means that we're going to get some things ready for you, especially in college football, and that's why we're going to have on Jesse Schul today. We're going to talk some baseball Tokyo Brandon. Of course, Yanni the Greek is going to be live from Las Vegas, give you all the sharp edges here on the show as he does every Saturday, and Ronald Kabang is going to end us with a bang. Some WNBA. We've got one game on the slate tonight. Make sure to remember, you always look in the chat, always comment. Make sure to ask our best handicappers what your questions are so that we get all of your answers before any of the games start today. We've got a lot of afternoon baseball to get to as well. And some lines definitely moved in some very interesting ways. And if you have your Odds Logic screen open at oddslogic.com/propqueen, you can go sign up. And that's how you can see all these line moves, and you can make sure to get the best rotation, the best numbers, and send game rotation numbers along with your questions so that we could get those answered as well. So first, coming up on the show today, as always, it is the great Yanni the Greek, live from Las Vegas. You know him as Yanni, Vegas runner, and maybe he'll have his audio on today. So last time, remember, you forgot, you didn't hear us. And
it's on. And I got something right out of the gate. I think you guys may have 5 or 10 minutes. I sent this out to subscribers. It's a premium play. Norwegian soccer, second division. We're taking Follo, Follo. That's Follo plus 1 goal up to minus 110, 115. You're probably good to minus 120. We got down at minus 105. Follo plus 1. They're playing St. Jordan's Blink. So St. Jordan's Blink, we're taking Follo plus 1. That's Norwegian second league. It goes off probably in like 5-10 minutes. Follow fade on you. Sorry.
Just wow. Didn't see that one coming. Did not see that one coming, Yanni, but I love it.
Me neither. Norwegian soccer early in the morning.
We love to hear it. I do have some baseball questions for you. And of course, we'll keep an eye on the chat and see if anybody has questions for Yanni about where the sharp action is today on the slate. But I saw this line move in a very weird direction in the Dodgers game, which starts at 1:10 p.m. Eastern time. According to FanDuel, which I like to look at just because it's so public and so national, the Dodgers moved from minus 134 to minus 120 since last night. And of course, the public's going to be on the Dodgers, not the Rays that are struggling. Blake Snell making his first start off the IL, so that's also concerning. What have you seen in this Dodgers-Rays game coming up in a couple hours?
Exactly what you touched on, Tampa money trickling in since the opener. But it doesn't look like it was like a big move. Like, that's why I didn't even put it on the list that I was going to share a couple of the steam moves, just because I've seen like some resistance come back the other way once it's gotten real low, like the initial hit on Tampa. But since then, I've seen a little bit of a comeback on the Dodgers. Wow, now down. Yeah, it got down to like 112. And now coming back up to like 115, 117 at Bet Online, which, is one of the sharper outs. Definitely Dodger money from the recreational bettors. So the sharps help limit that risk. I think when this goes off, the books will probably have a good balance because, again, the sharp money's offset. And the Dodger money will come in from the recreational bettors. It's an early game. Rest assured, that'll be tied into some parlays, coin flip type of game. I figured they will be on the Dodgers. I mean, it's hard to bet this Tampa Bay game. They've won, 2 in their last 10 games, 1 out of every 5 games. And more importantly, a lot of those losses, it's not like they were dogs. They were coin flips or favorites, kind of like this line is. Now it's down to a coin flip. But you're right. They did get the sharp money, even though Dodgers, shut them out yesterday, 5-0. Sharps coming right back with Tampa. I'm not on Tampa. I can tell you that. I'm not touching that game. Gun to head, I'd actually look to the Dodgers now at this price.
I'm also seeing a great pitching matchup today. Tigers got Tariq Skubal on the mound. Phillies got Zach Wheeler on the mound. 4 o'clock Eastern time. Detroit line moved a few cents against them, but not anything major. Anything that you see there with the Phillies at home?
Under. Yeah, steamed immediately at 7. And this is what I talk about all the time, how efficient the sports betting market continues to get. It continues to correct itself. We're seeing a 6.5. When I came out here, you never saw that. There was no such thing as a 6.5. It would be 7 with the under up to minus 140, 150 even before they ever went to a 6.5. That's important, how important the number 7 is. 7, 9, and 11 are those totals that matter in baseball. 3-3, tie, 4-4, 5-5. Those type of numbers is why 7, 9, 11 are so important. And they steamed this under 7, and the public's still betting it under as well. But they're going under 6.5, and that's a very different number. That's why you got to be careful. When I share this steam plays in the morning, you got to look, what number did they get down at, and what's available? Why did they stop betting it? You don't see no sharp bettors coming in and taking that under 6.5. Right now, it's all recreational bettors betting the under 6.5. And good two-way action on the side. Personally, I lean Philadelphia here. I like the Phillies. They were able to get that win yesterday against Detroit, getting that first game in. The way this line's moved, coin flip, I lean Phillies at home. I see the under at 7, but at 6.5, I couldn't bet it. In fact, I'd go over or nothing at all there. Again, good balance action, Philly, Detroit. For the books, not much risk at all. It's all on the under there, all in the under.
So yesterday, there was a Yankees-Marlins game that finished with the Marlins walking it off in a 13-12 win in the bottom of the 9th inning. It was a disgusting game, especially as a Yankees fan. You kind of just knew they were going to lose. Today, the line's moving in favor of Miami again, and I feel like the public is going to like the Yankees because no way the Yankees come off of a brutal loss like last night and end up losing again to the bad Marlins. I feel like that's the public narrative. What have you seen in that game between the Yankees and the Marlins?
Exactly. You nailed it. That's exactly what's happening, where the recreational bettors are coming back and betting the Yankees today, coming off a loss. That's usually going to happen. This is a team that attracts money pretty much each and every night, but coming off a loss, that's going to happen especially. And that's what we're seeing. But it's another spot where you got sharps on one side, public on the other, because they have bet Miami again. This is one of those teams I continue to see get action, and they're getting it today. Against the Yankees. So the Yankees came in, they had won 3 of 4 of Tampa Bay. So, it was a perfect letdown spot, I think, for them. Compared to Miami, who's returning home after their road trip, and they played well. They won 2 of 3 against Seattle, St. Louis. They won 2 of 3 against Milwaukee. So I thought game 1 was a really good spot for Miami. Game 2, not so much. But that is where the sharps are on. And again, I think they have the edge in the pitching, at least recency, how they stack up. I like Perez. So yeah, I understand why the sharps are on the Miami team. Both are on the under. That's what's heavy. A lot of under money in that game. 8 was favored to the over when that opened. Now it's favored to the under. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw 7.5, but in fact, I see like a square book actually has an 8.5. So it looks like another situation where opposite. Sharps are going under, public's going over after seeing all those runs. It's not surprising, little recency bias there. So again, it'll be the public on the Yankees and over, and the sharps on Miami and under, which no surprise, that's usually the case. Dog and under, favored and over, opposites.
Not surprised at all. It's exactly what I thought last night when I saw the lines in that move. But we've got to play. We've got someone asking about number 907, Braves, going up against the Reds. You've got Spencer Strider on the mound, Chase Burns for the Reds. What you see there? Yep.
Here's what I can tell you. I'm glad you asked that game because, as I touched on prior to game 1, the betting syndicate I moved baseball for, one of them bet Cincinnati for that series to win the series. They lost game 1. They came back and bet them yesterday. So they won game 2 for them. Now they kind of have a free roll on Cincinnati for this series. They haven't bet them today. In fact, I'm seeing the opposite. I'm seeing some sharp money on Atlanta. So keep that in mind. If Atlanta wins today, then there is a pending outcome on
Yanni,
Sunday.
And by the way, that's the game that's at the racetrack. That's at Bristol today.
Is it?
Braves,
yeah, they're going to need Cincinnati. If Cincinnati loses today, they're going to need Cincinnati tomorrow just to break even on that series bet.
How do you approach betting these games, though, that we've never even seen before, a game played at a NASCAR track, nonetheless, Bristol?
I think you just eliminate home field advantage. You just don't factor in any type of home field advantage. It'll be hard to give any team an edge as if they have an advantage on that field. I would just simply eliminate any team as being the home team. I would make it as if it's being played on a neutral site. and just take it from there. Those kind of games, you don't have a big enough sample size to really lean back on something and say, these games tend to go over, these games tend to go under. There's just not enough of sample size for that. But just throwing out that series information real quickly, another series bet that we placed right before game 1 yesterday, and I sent it out to subscribers is a 4%. We took Kansas City at nice plus money to win that series. They did win game 1. So we need them to win either today or tomorrow to get that series bet in. But yeah, I'm seeing Atlanta now. I'm looking again. I'm seeing Atlanta is bet in one of the sharp accounts. So I'm surprised that line's dropped. But see, when it got down to like 111, got 110, 115, then you saw the Atlanta buy. Okay, so that makes sense now. So yeah, early move looked like it got dummied down to Cincinnati. And then Atlanta got the bigger money at about minus 110, 115. So, yeah, I like that Atlanta side there.
What else in baseball have you seen today?
All right. San Francisco at plus 175 and the over 8 up to minus 120. San Diego getting bet by the Sharps and the public. One-sided action there. They do like Kansas City again. They took Kansas City, like I said, for the series. They like them again. They usually bet the series bet in game 2. I talked about that last week. They like Minnesota at plus money, plus 150. Seattle, minus 105. And finally, 924 under 8 up to minus 125. Baltimore and the Cubs under 8. Baltimore in the Cubs. That's what's going on in baseball. A little early. Remember, it's 8 a.m. over here.
People, of course, asking in the chat about UFC and UFC winners.
Tough card. Really, really, really tough card. But here's what I'll do. I give out a premium play to you guys. I just actually sent it out to subscribers this morning. It's chalky. So do as you wish with it. Follow or fade. That's on you. But I like Rodolfo Vieira. Anything less than minus 250, he's the right side there. Very, very winnable fight for Vieira against Trazian Gore, and Vieira's coming off a loss. He had won 2 straight performance bonuses. In fact, had gotten the performance bonuses in 3 of his prior 4 fights before that loss. So we're getting a much better price because of that recency bias there. And Gore's one of those guys that people think he's like this close. He's like he's a lot better than his results show, but he's coming off getting knocked out in the second round. I think this is an easy fight for Vieira. Like I said, I'd lay minus 200, which I did, and I was comfortable doing it. I know a lot of you guys don't like to lay that heavy chalk. Maybe find something else to tie it into in a parlay. But, yeah, we're on Vieira there up to minus 210.
Anyone else in the chat before Yanni goes? I know we've got one game in the W tonight. If you saw anything there.
Nothing in the WNBA, but I did see in CFL under, sharp. Any 55 and a halves got picked off. Anytime. So it's a heavy over money from the recreational bettors. They're betting the over. Anytime that total got to 55 and a half, they picked it off. So 55 and a half is the number that they're looking to buy the under on. That's why you're probably seeing 55s, 54 and a halves on Hamilton and Edmonton under. And don't forget, Steam Room. In hour and a half, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll have more baseball. We'll go over the UFC card. We'll cover NFL preseason so you guys are prepared for that. Talk a little bit about college football and NFL futures. Getting excited because I will be on Bet on It this year. So that means I got to prepare even more. That's what I love. I get to prepare even more. I'll be deep into college football and NFL this year. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, best of luck this weekend. Do some
Yanni back on Bet on It, and we'll get a lot of college football and NFL from you. We've got one more baseball question from Titan CT. Thought on the Red Sox, number 916.
Red Sox. Man, that team keeps getting bet. They've been my Achilles heel. No surprise, they're getting bet again today against Houston, and I like them. I like Boston, actually. If I have to bet it, I'm taking the Red Sox. It's good two-way action. Don't see sharp money either way there. This is just opinion bet on Boston. Yeah, I like how Boston's playing, man. I mean, there's a team that's won now 3 straight, 5 of their last 6. I like the pitching matchup. It makes sense. I like Boston today. Anything less than like minus 130, I'm not sure where it's at right now. I think we get there. Boston or
and the chat wants to know about getting banned last night from the casino.
Oh, yeah, man. Such bullshit. Honestly, it was such a good, fair game. I played the first night a little bit, went back the second day. That day I was serious. I was like, now I'm going to stay for hours. Like had eaten, was perfect mindset, and even had a good count early, but didn't go my way. And I didn't even get the bet big. Like I was only bet spreading between 1x to 10x. I was going 100 to 1,000, and I never even got the bet more than 300. Like the deck never demanded more than 300 on a one hand. But for whatever reason, it had to be facial recognition. And they must subscribe to the Griffin book. If you're in that Griffin book, it's over as far as your blackjack career. I shouldn't have went the high limit. That's the key. High limit, they all have facial recognition now. And they're still pissed about 15 years ago. Like they'll never forget it. They never let it go for whatever reason. So one of those things.
Well, Yanni, that's why people could check out your blackjack course, right? You also
that's why I said I sent soldiers out there to do my bidding. That's what I want to do. I want to teach everyone to go out there and do it, just because that's what pissed me off. That's why I told Gianni the last time. I said, dude, I can't play. I want to teach people to go out there and do it. Good. Send out those soldiers to go freaking do some damage. I can't wait to do it again. I do the course again.
The goal is to beat the book, and on social media, we end up losing all of this, like, everyone on social media gangs up on each other, but at the end of the day, it's us versus the book. It's not us versus each other.
Exactly. I don't get it either.
I don't understand. Yanni the Greek, what are you promoting today?
All right. I got my UFC card that's up. Now 4% plays in there. There'll be some more. As you guys know, the originators I work for, they bet day of mostly now in MMA. The limits are the biggest. I'll have the baseball package up within 30 minutes. Good baseball card today. I have my NFL college football futures in a combo pack. So one package, you get all the NFL and college football futures, 9 of them in there right now. More will be coming between now and the regular season. Oh, I even have week 1 college football. 2 week 1 college football bets already released. So yeah, we're in action, baby. We're in action.
It's August. It's football season. It's coming. It's almost here. Yanni, thanks so much. Enjoy your Saturday.
Good luck today, Ariel.
Coming up next, we have more baseball talk to get to. Tokyo Brandon joining the show. Follow him at Tokyo Brandon. We're going to talk whatever you guys want out of Major League Baseball, but he's got a couple of plays himself. And Mac Hudson, you're going to have to wait a little for those sharp lacrosse plays. Dan will come on at the end of the show and mention those. Tokyo Brandon, Guardians Twins today. We've got a matchup between Bailey Ober and Tanner Bybee, a Twins team that was total sellers at the deadline. What are you seeing in this one?
Hi, Ariel. Nice to be back. So, yeah, this is going to be a good game here. You know, the Twins, well, I don't know if it's going to be a good game or not. The Twins have basically sold off 40% of their team at the trade deadline, and that's kind of sent shockwaves. I've read a couple of interviews with some of their players, and none of them are very happy about it. A lot of people, morale is pretty down, and you could see how they played yesterday. I think we're going to see more of the same today. I think the Guardians, surprisingly, according to my rankings, rank number 5 in MLB hitting in current form. They rank number 12 in bullpen. Minnesota's bullpen ranks 26th out of 30, according to my rankings. So given those factors, I think the Guardians are going to have little trouble beating the Twins today. Ober does have good stats against these batters in his career, which is a little bit of a worry. So Tanner Bybee also has pretty good stats against the batters he's facing. So might be a little bit of a slow start here, but I think in the end, the Guardians will probably handle this. Bybee's a really good home pitcher. And although I've never had a lot of confidence in him, I think today with Minnesota's morale quite down, I think the Guardians are going to handle business again today.
Got an interesting one at 3:10 p.m. Eastern time because the Pittsburgh Pirates are in Colorado. As much as everyone's going to love that Paul Skeens is on the mound, he's in Colorado. How does that impact your handicap?
He is in Colorado, but so is Austin Gomber. So
yeah, but he's used to the altitude, Gomber. Is Skeens used to the altitude?
Yeah, he's used to being terrible in the altitude, so that doesn't really bother me. Skeens is just light years ahead of him. I actually have Skeens ranked number 2 out of all pitchers in MLB. So when you do go to the altitude, the one thing that a lot of pitchers say is the life on their ball. In other words, the movement on their fastball and the movement on their off-speed pitches tend to be a little bit less movement. So the altitude takes the movement off your ball. So that affects both pitchers, though. So yes, Skeens probably won't be quite as effective as he normally is. But on a curve of 30, I have Austin Gomber ranked 29 out of all starting pitchers, where I have Skeens ranked number 2. Not only do I have Skeens ranked number 2 on a curve of 30, I have Skeens ranked number 2 out of all 210 starting pitchers that I rank. Surprisingly, the Pirates are not really known for this, but I have their bullpen ranked number 6th out of all teams in MLB, where I have the Rockies ranked number 30 out of 30. So hitting-wise, that's always kind of been the Pirates' Achilles heel. But current form, they're ranked 18, where I have the Rockies ranked 22. So that's enough discrepancy, in my opinion, to confidently back the Pirates in this one. Although the way they put a whacking on Colorado yesterday, as far as run production is concerned, that worries me a little bit. But, today is Skeens. So I think the Pirates should have no problem at least pulling this out on the money line.
Lewis Creech said he might have to run back to Brewers -1.5 again today. It did well yesterday, and the Nats look pretty depleted. You've got Brendan Woodruff on the mound for the Brewers. They're laying about -180. Washington around +150. Jake Irvin pitching. Thoughts on Brewers Nats?
Yeah, Irvin's not a very good pitcher. Woodruff, I wanted to give him a little time when he came back because he missed a lot of the starting portion of the season. But Milwaukee's just been on a tear offensively. And Woodruff, he has a couple starts under his belt now. So I think we can kind of trust how he's been performing as a good indication of what we're going to see. Jake Irvin's been awful. And he's awful against these batters as well. I don't see any way you could possibly back Jake Irvin, whether you take Milwaukee or not. I don't see how anyone could possibly take Washington in this matchup, especially the way Woodruff has been pitching and especially the way Milwaukee has been hitting. So that would be the way to go, if any. I haven't played this game yet, but if anyway, that would have to be the way to go. One other interesting stat about Woodruff, I do a statistic. I don't know if anyone else uses this, but I take the walks to strikeouts ratio. Woodruff is only walking 10% of the guys he strikes out. It's an amazing rate because most starting pitchers are between 30 and 40, which is an acceptable rate. Irvin is walking 61% of the guys that he's striking out. So that's outside of the acceptable rate. Yeah, there's no way you could back Washington here. Hey, we're in the business of predicting the future. Washington could win the game, but I don't think there's any way you could sensibly back them today.
David Talk wants to know your thoughts on Cubs and Orioles.
Cubs and Orioles. This is an interesting one because Sugano has not been pitching well lately, and Boyd has. But let's see. Let's take a look here. Yeah, the Orioles are hitting like crazy, though. And there's been a couple of games there where they put like touchdowns up. So this is really skewing their current form numbers. But Orioles are hitting like crazy right now. But so are the Cubs. The Cubs rank top 10 in hitting, and the Orioles rank number 1 in current form. Neither bullpen is performing well at all. And I don't like how Sugano's been performing lately either. Boyd has been solid, but you expect that from Boyd. He's been like that since he pitched for the Tigers. This to me looks like a Chicago Cubs team total over to me. I mean, you got a team that's hitting top 10 right now, and they're facing a bottom 10 bullpen and definitely a bottom 10 pitcher. So a Cubs money line would be the way I would approach this. I haven't dug deep into how Boyd has performed against the Orioles in his past, but it doesn't matter if you take the Cubs team total. So yeah, that would probably be the way I would go on this one. I'll take a look at that and maybe put that to my card. And yes, I see the comments. Yes, I'm right after this show. I'm going to be doing an hour or more live on WagerTalk's channel. Just open up my spreadsheets and show people how I do my capping and give out some free plays and stuff. So yeah, right after this show, I will be doing my show as well. Up all night, as the Boomtown Rats used to sing.
We love to hear it. Thank you, Tokyo. Brandon, what are you promoting today?
So I do have a 5% play out in Major League Baseball. It's my first one of the month, and I've been number 1 at WagerTalk in All Sports Profit 3 of the last 4 years. Pretty good guy to back. Used to be a Major League Baseball scout for 10 years. So, there's one play I really like in Major League Baseball, and that's my 5% play. I also have a 4% play out today in Major League Baseball. So definitely grab those, or use TB7 and get a 7-day pass for $69. So that might be the way to go. Tune into my show right after this one at the top of the hour, and I'll open my spreadsheets and give some plays out.
Tokyo Brandon, follow him at Tokyo_Brandon. Thanks for coming on. Good luck tonight, and we'll see you on your show in a few minutes.
Take it easy.
And for the guys on YouTube, Mark A, I will give a pitcher prop out at the end. I'm trying to find you a good one. I might have one. One that caught my eye was Blake Snell under 5.5 strikeouts. It's in the afternoon. It's Snell's first start coming off the IL. Minus 120 range. The Rays this year haven't been striking out as much, but they have struck out more against lefties. So that kind of turned me off from it. But 5.5 for a team that hasn't struck out as often this year on a first stint off the IL, seems a little high, but I'm not in love with it. So I'm going to try to find you something better by the end of the show. So while I look for that, let's talk a little college football. We're going to talk about just about 28 days from now. August 30th is when we're going to see Texas and Ohio State at the Shoe, noon Eastern time. So let's bring them on. Jesse Schul, let's talk some college football. I am super pumped. It is August, which means college football is this month. What stands out to you about that first game?
New quarterbacks. Ohio State will bring in Julian Sayin, who nobody's ever really seen play unless you watched him play in high school. And Texas, bringing Arch Manning back. We saw a little bit of Arch Manning last year, but we never really seen him take the reins as the guy in big games. And, I'm tempted to back Texas in this game. They're going against the defending champs. Of course, Ohio State at home is going to be the favorite. But a quarterback making his first ever start against a Texas team that ranked third in team defense last year, or scoring defense, 15.3 points per game allowed. Ohio State ranked first in scoring defense last year, allowing less than 13 points per game. We saw a bit of Arch Manning. At least we know he's not going to panic. He's been in game situations. He's played well enough that I feel comfortable that he's going to be okay. I can't say that about Julian Sayin. We don't know what to expect. That said, I just think there's so many variables that I don't want to. I think the smartest bet is to stay away from the side and focus on the total here. As I said, Arch Manning doesn't have a lot of big game experience. Julian Sayin has no experience. We're looking at a potential number 1 and number 2 ranked teams going against each other, young quarterbacks. I think the coaching staffs on both these teams are going to be wary of throwing their young guys into the fire. Both these teams have excellent offensive lines and excellent running games, and I would expect them to lean heavily on the run and on the defense. The total sits at 50.5. We saw these teams play in the playoffs last year. Ohio State won 28-14. The previous head-to-head meeting, 24-21 and 24-7. So the last 3 have all fallen well short of 50 points. And like I said, I expect sort of a slow-moving game where these teams try to ease their young quarterbacks into the game and focus on running the football. So under 50.5, I think, is the better bet rather than looking at the side in this game.
I know that we're just a few weeks away, so people are going to be looking to place some futures action down on these college football futures. Who's a dark horse team that you've got an eye on?
Well, I'll be really quick, but I'm going to give you dark horse teams for all the Power 4 conferences and the rest of the groups. Georgia Tech in the ACC, 7-1 to make the playoffs. Georgia Tech's returning everybody. They lost one receiver, but they got their quarterback, the running back, coaching staff. They almost beat Georgia last year. They were competitive in every game they played. Now, with all that returning production, they're in a good position to make the playoffs. 7-1, good value there. Oklahoma in the SEC, plus 550. A lot of people will think, well, Oklahoma was terrible last year. They bring in John Mateer from Washington State. A lot of people will say, oh, yeah, but who was he playing against last year? They were saying the same thing about Cam Ward, and look what he did at Miami. I believe in John Mateer. You see him at SEC Media Days. The guy's got a swagger about him that I haven't seen since Baker Mayfield. I think Oklahoma has a chance to make some noise in the SEC this year. Iowa in the Big Ten. Now, I'm not saying Iowa's better than some of the other dark horse teams. Most people like Washington in the Big Ten as a dark horse. The reason I like Iowa, they're bringing in a quarterback, Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State FCS team, but the guy's a baller. The guy's a dual threat. I think this guy's going to be a perfect fit at Iowa, and their offensive problems maybe a little bit less this year, and we know their defense is always good, but the schedule is what I like about Iowa. They get Penn State and Oregon. Both those are home games. They don't have to play Ohio State. That's why I would take Iowa ahead of, say, Nebraska and Washington, the other two teams that everybody likes as a dark horse in the Big Ten. Iowa State, Kelly's not going to like this, but Iowa State in the Big 12, 10-1 to make the playoffs. You know, Iowa State kind of played over their heads last year. They won 11 games. They went to the conference championship game, but they're bringing most of their defense back. They got Rocco Becht, a very experienced quarterback. Yeah, they got some new receivers in the transfer portal. You know, the Big 12's wide open. Anybody can win. And a team that won 11 games last year with an experienced quarterback, I personally want to stay away from Big 12 action just because it's so volatile because of the parity in that league. But if you ask me for a dark horse, it's going to be 10-1 on Iowa State to make the playoffs. And when we go to the smaller conferences, Boise State, they're plus money to make the playoffs at plus 190. But this team's bringing everybody back, starting quarterback. They lost Ashton Genty, and I think a lot of people look at that and say, Genty was so good. How could you possibly replace a player that's that good? Well, when it's a running back and he's running behind the same offensive line and the same quarterback's back and you plug another guy in there, if that next guy up is a stud, that often is a problem that solves itself. We've seen that in the past with Christian McCaffrey leaving Stanford. The following season, Bryce Love steps in and runs for over 2,000 yards. I think you could see that here with Boise State, and they're just so far ahead of everybody else in the Mountain West. I think their path to the playoffs is clear. So Boise State at plus 190.
I know that there's also some teams that you thought were a little overrated, a little underrated. Who would those teams be?
So overrated, I'm going to go with Baylor. Phil Steele's picking Baylor to win the Big 12. I'm just not seeing it. I know they ended last season on a 5-game winning streak, but the quality of opponents was questionable. I think the Baylor hype, I'm just not buying into that. Utah's another one. I'm a big Utah fan. I love Kyle Whittingham, but they're sort of rolling the dice with a completely overhauled offense, a new quarterback. I like them in week 1 against UCLA. I don't necessarily like them as one of the favorites to win the conference, so I think they might be overrated. LSU, number 1 portal class in the country. But what does that mean? That means a whole bunch of new faces. How's that going to work out? There's no question they got the talent, but the SEC is loaded with talent. I'm not sure I would want to have my money on LSU based on having the number 1 portal class.
Jesse Schul, what are you promoting today here at WagerTalk?
It's almost unbelievable, but right now they're giving away the rest of the season, Major League Baseball and CFL, with the purchase of my all-access football package. That's college and pro football. I'm number 1 at WagerTalk with MLB this season, and I'm hitting 73% this season with CFL. And you can get that for free if you buy this package for $777.
We have a last-second question from Andrew. What do you expect the line is for Michigan at Oklahoma? And quick thoughts on Michigan.
Well, you know, there's a lot of young quarterbacks, first-year quarterbacks. Michigan's got one, Bryce Underwood. And if you listen to Connor Stallions discuss the work ethic of Bryce Underwood, it's hard not to be impressed by that. Now, every coaching staff is saying their guy is going to be the next guy. It sounded very convincing. What do I think the line's going to be? It's going to depend on the week 1 games. It's got a huge fluctuation. Could be anywhere from a pick 'em to a 5.5 point spread. for the home team. So that's going to be influenced by what we see in week 1.
Jesse Schul, thank you so much for coming on here on Last Call Saturday on Wager Talk. Good luck to everything that you've got going on today, and I can't wait for more college football talk with you soon. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry, guys. The questions came in late. He was on for 5 to 8 minutes. But we'll get to him again soon. We've got a lot of time until we've got college football. It is also WNBA season. We've got a game tonight, and Ronald Kabang is going to help us out with that game. Kabang, tonight, WNBA. Let's put the drama aside. We've got the Minnesota Lynx at the Las Vegas Aces, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm seeing the Lynx favored at around -4.5. Total sitting at around 166.5. What are your thoughts on the W?
Yeah, this one is a pretty interesting game. They're both in really tough schedule spots right now. So the Lynx, they're playing their first game on the road after 4 straight home games after the All-Star break. They're also in a letdown spot. They just scored 100 points against the Liberty. That was their revenge game that they're waiting for all season long. On the AC side, this is their first game home off a 4-game road trip. They traveled a lot. They started in Indiana, then they traveled towards, I think it was Dallas, and then now west to LA, and then back home, obviously. But they did have their last game 3 or 4 days ago, so they should be well rested. But the other thing is they are on the first leg of back-to-back games. They do have they play tomorrow. I think it is Golden State. So they play Golden State tomorrow. They've already played each other twice, both times in Minnesota. The first one in Las Vegas. First game stayed way under. Asia didn't play that game. Second game went way over. The Lynx shot exceptionally well. They went to the free throw line 38 times. That's something that doesn't happen too often in the WNBA. But this time, I think the Aces, they do make the necessary adjustments defensively to contest shots better, limit those trips to the free throw line. If you look at their recent form, their defense has looked really great. Last 5 games, both teams actually are in the top 3 in defensive rating. The Lynx play the 4th slowest pace in the league. Both teams limit turnovers. So that limits transition buckets and points off turnovers as well. Aces, a lot of shots in the paint. Lynx are first in defending it. Lynx shoot a lot of threes, and the Aces are third in defending threes. So matchup-wise and situationally, a lot of things are pointing towards an under-type game. So this was actually my only client play for today. There was only one WNBA game. I took the Aces under 167 last night. It did move down just a half point, so I think it's still a good play.
Kabang, since it's a short slate, we won't keep you too long today, but what are you promoting?
Yeah, like I said, this was my only client play today, so you got that for free. Whatever I have up on the site right now, don't buy it. I just gave it to you. But just glancing ahead to tomorrow, there is a lot to like. I have five plays already on my short list, likely to have at least 3 client plays, up over 95 units already this season, and we just passed the halfway mark. So things are really looking up. In the WNBA, just hopefully continue cashing tickets and build that bankroll for football and NBA season. Number 1 all sport profit in 2025. So WagerTalk does have a deal for a 1-year all access, wt.buzz/RC, if you want to rock with me there.
Ronald Kabang, make sure to check him out at UCapper Sports. Thanks so much for coming on. Good luck tonight.
See ya.
Before I bring on the big finale, because I know that the chat's waiting for the sharp Premier Lacrosse plays of the day, I do have a strikeout prop that has caught my eye. Max Scherzer of the Toronto Blue Jays to go under 5.5 Ks. It's gone under in both home day games this year and 4 of his last 5 home day games dating back to last year. Kansas City, 8 of the last 9 righty starters since the All-Star break have gone under 5.5 Ks. Max Scherzer hasn't faced them this year, which I kind of like because I don't like for the same thing to happen twice, which is why I'm backing off of Woodruff. So we're going to go under 5.5 Ks against the Royals team that doesn't strike out that much, going up against Max Scherzer today in Toronto. Now let's get to those Premier Lacrosse plays of the day. Dan, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we had Mac Hudson. He literally joined to start the show, Ariel, and was literally like, "Where are the lacrosse plays? Where are the?" So the people need it. We actually have a national lacrosse game going on at 1:00. So this is going to be on ABC. So if you're out, you get the day drinking early. PLL, ask them to put it on at the bar. And when it is on, we're going to be sweating it under, Ariel. That's right. We're looking towards Pat Kavanaugh, who even like casual fans who maybe have seen, the last couple of years here would know the name Kavanaugh because there's these three brothers who are absolute studs, national champions, this, that, and the other thing. Well, Pat Kavanaugh of the Denver Outlaws, he's an MVP candidate, and rightfully so, absolute stud. Why would we go under his points then? Well, Ariel, the last couple weeks, he's kept popping up on the injury report, currently listed as questionable. He should play today against the New York Atlas on ABC at 1 p.m. But that shoulder injury doesn't really help a guy who likes to put a lot of shots on cage. He's playing his second game in less than 13 hours because this is the Denver weekend where they're playing 2 games for the Outlaws. They played last night at 8 p.m. and then they flexed this game so they could get it nationally played on ABC. So now they're playing at 1 p.m. after playing a game at 8 o'clock. Not really great for a guy who's injured. Right. So, the other thing that I look at is the fact that Denver already clinched the playoffs. So whether they're up or whether they're down, why would you keep your guy in there who has a shoulder injury? So I wouldn't be shocked as long as he starts. We have action here. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Kavanaugh doesn't play the whole game. So under 3.5 points, Pat Kavanaugh versus your New York Atlas. There you go.
I was excited for this matchup when I saw it on the schedule because it's Kelly versus me.
Yeah.
Denver.
Well, I think you're going to get the best of it. I think you can bet the Atlas money line too, for what it's worth. I mean, Denver's just
already in. Like, are they going to care?
Exactly. Well, so New York is already in 2, right? So this is kind of the preview, if you will. If you look at the odds for the exactas where you can pick this team to beat this team or these 2 teams are the favorites to match up in the championship game. So I almost feel like
because it's in New Jersey, right? So Kelly's going to have to come back here.
Yeah, this would be electric, and that we'll get you tickets if we need to get you and Kelly in person there. But the other thing for me is you think about teams who see each other, teams who have familiarity. If these 2 teams expect that they're going to play in the championship game, why would you leave Pat Kavanaugh out there? Why would you actually run some of the plays? Like contrary to private belief, there are plays that you run in lacrosse. So maybe some wrinkles that you would maybe save for a future meeting, because it doesn't matter for either of them. New York's already in the playoffs, and Denver's already in the playoffs, and it looks like no matter what happens, they're both going to be locked in as 1 seeds. So I think you could see a little bit less of some effort for a team who just played 13 hours ago. So I think Atlas money line is live. So we like that Pat Kavanaugh prop. You can lay the -130 on the money line with the Atlas. The other thing that we'll do for this game, I think it's at 8 o'clock tonight. It's the Whip Snakes versus the California Redwoods. I like Maryland Whip Snakes to win. Congratulations to the Redwoods. They won their first game since week 2 last week. Yay, that's amazing. All that means is we get a better price on the better team. Lifetime since 2020, Maryland Whip Snakes have absolutely owned this team. They're 7-1 straight up against California going back to 2020. So unfortunately for California, who's looking for a playoff push, they're facing off against a team who's kind of been their Achilles heel. So Maryland Whip Snakes money line, that's around -130. If you want some plus money, you can lay the 1.5, but they're 7-1 straight up. They're only 4-4 against the spread. So I would probably prefer to just eat that 20 cents of chalk and take them on the money line. And if you want to, hey, why not? It's a Saturday. Let's have some fun. PLL parlay, Atlas money line, and the Whip Snakes money line. You get +213 on that. So there you go. A couple different ways to attack the slate here today for the folks.
Ooh, I like it. It was funny. So yesterday, Dan and I and Kelly, we have a group chat, and we're talking about the plays in PLL for the weekend. And Dan's like, race to 3, Denver. And he's
race
like,
to 3 is electric.
He's like, I kind of like it more Saturday than today. Turns out Denver hits the race to 3 yesterday, and we all know I don't bet the same result twice. Dan doesn't bet the same result twice. So Dan writes in the chat, well, that's not happening tomorrow.
Yeah, so and of course I already locked it in, right? Yeah, the race to 3, for what it's worth, again, it still could hit again, but I'm not making it a best bet. Unfortunately, I already bet it, but we're talking about Denver winning the race to 3 against the New York Atlas. It's coming up at 1 o'clock. Denver has won the race to 3 in, I believe it's now 6 straight games because they did it again last night. They're a team who just starts very fast. And yes, there might be some fatigue coming in. For what it's worth, you look at the Atlas side, they've failed to win the race to 3 2 straight games. So, of course, it had to have hit last night, Ariel. We could have had a great bounce back spot, but that could be another way to attack it. I still lean that way, but if I didn't already bet it, I would not bet it today for what it's worth.
I understand. I feel the same way. I love Mac Hudson, PLL parlay. What could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? Laying 2 favorites in a parlay. It's like we're betting
in the
baseball.
Premier Lacrosse League.
It's like we're betting base. Yeah, in the Premier Lacrosse League where underdogs have gone like 23-8 against the spread or something like that. Yeah, of course.
Oh boy. Well, Dan, thank you as always for those sharp PLL plays of the day. We love them to start our Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We've got the Atlas facing off against the Denver Outlaws. So I'm super pumped. That one coming up. I've got to make a social video about our prop of the day. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. And for someone who asked before about the Yankees and if I'm sad about them, David Havley asked, am I sad about the Yankees? No, because I was over them about like 2 months ago. When you find out that the Dodgers' game plan was to get you to F up the fielding in the World Series last year and you don't clean up the fundamentals of baseball on your team, it's a you problem. And I know they got Ryan McMahon at third, which helps them a bit defensively, but this team still is making terrible errors. Anthony Volpe, despite having the game-tying home run again last night, he still made errors in the field. So literally, I'm so over them. They are so fundamentally broken, and I can't root for a team that can't field grounders. It's just embarrassing. On that note, I'm going to watch the Yankees game today anyway, and just be a glutton for punishment. So at least the game's happening before I go to dinner. And then when the Yankees piss me off again, because clearly Yanni said the sharp actions on the Marlins today, then I'm going to go to dinner and drink a bottle of wine to the face. I actually started this show today sober, so that's good. No, I'm just kidding. I'm always sober. I'm just sometimes a little hungover because Kelly came to town last week and she messed me up. I kicked her out. She's gone. But Kelly and I are going to be together again next weekend. So next weekend, I think it's Steve Merrill again. He's going to fill in. I've got to go watch Premier Lacrosse actually next week. Kelly and I are going to go watch the Boston Cannons. Super pumped to see my first Premier Lacrosse action in person. We're going to be doing a ton of content from out there in Massachusetts. So make sure to tune into our social media pages and watch Kelly and I just actually bring mayhem to Premier Lacrosse League. Poor Dan, he can't be there, but I wish he could. Dan, thank you for running things behind the ship. Thank you for the Premier Lacrosse plays. Thank you to Yanni the Greek, Ronald Kabang, Jesse Schul, Tokyo Brandon. Everyone came on and gave us some sharp action across UFC, Major League Baseball, soccer, WNBA, Premier Lacrosse. If you missed any of it, tune into the YouTube page over at WagerTalk. Everything is over there. Thanks, guys. Good luck to your bets, and we'll see you again next week.